Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gators First Podcast, week 5, I guess. We're playing Ole Miss. Last weekend, we beat Tennessee 30-6. I watched it here in Plano with some of my friends from around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, also Gator grads. It was a pretty fun time, but we probably didn't have as good a time as Chris here, who went to Knox Vegas. You want to tell us about that, Chris?
Yes, Knox Vegas indeed. It was a really fun time. I had never been there before. Actually, I had been there before, but it was to eat on a road trip at Outback Steakhouse, and it was delicious, of course. And it was really, really fun. I had a good time. We stayed at the Hilton. I'm gonna be writing a big blog about this. I won't go into great detail, but Knoxville's a good city. People were actually really nice, except for some yokels, some hillbillies, but it was pretty fun. I had a good time while I was there, and their stadium's massive, and it's right on a river. It's really, really nice. At the game, I was really surprised by a couple things. How inept they are at football was number one, and how their fans really, really don't like Phil Fulmer. They booed a lot, and how their fans just leave the stadium early in the game. It was in the midway through the third quarter. We were up like 27 to, I think it's 27-0 or something like that, maybe 20-0, and they all left. It was depressing. I could not believe that. So that was pretty surprising, and I'll have pictures of that in my blog. But it was good to see special teams play well. I thought that Brandon James, when they set up for that first kick, Brandon James and Percy Harvin were both back there, and everybody in our section was like, "Oh my God, we got like the two fastest guys in America sitting there waiting for a punt return." So we knew that something special was going to happen. And on that first one, Brandon James looked like a Tecmo Bowl. It was ridiculous. He's just whoop, 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 back and forth. And they can't tackle, and he scored a touchdown. And on the second or third punt that they had, they tried a reverse, and they faked the reverse. And I think if they would have actually pitched it to Percy Harvin, Brandon James got the ball originally. If they would have pitched it to Percy Harvin, he would have scored no problems asked. There was nobody on that side of the field. But it was still fun to watch. It was a fun experience. Even after the game, the Tennessee fans were pretty good. Actually, we were walking to the bars late at night, and a car drove by us, and we weren't wearing Gators clothes, but I guess they just realized that we were Gators fans, maybe because we were going out or something. But one of the cars drove by, and he yelled out, "You guys got lucky today," and we didn't even say anything. We just like broke into hysterical laughter. It was pretty funny. That's the only reaction you could really give when you win 30-6. But I don't know. We had a really fun time, and go Gators. I hope to be there again in a couple of years. They're going to be really bad this season too. By the way, Tennessee. They've got a really tough schedule from here on out.
I too was surprised by how inept they are at football. I think I stated that I was a little worried about this game, more that I was worried about our state of mind and how we would show up. And obviously, that wasn't a problem. I was very pleased with our special teams. I think the seemed like we had really good starting field position all the time, so maybe that kept our total offensive numbers down. And I think I still buy into the theory. A lot of people are still spouting the theory that we're keeping it really plain because we don't really need to. And I think that that's probably true to an extent, but I also think it's probably true that we just still don't have a lot of confidence in our receiving core. And that's really all I'll say about the game. I mean, it was a romp. There's not really too much to pick on when it's the hardest game until we have to play LSU or Georgia. So we should set us up pretty good for our schedule to go like what 6 or 7-0, 8-0 before we play LSU, something like that.
Yeah, and we also wanted to thank our friends at the BS Extravaganza, which we found on YouTube. They're two random fans from Tennessee, and they're realists because they have these podcasts on YouTube. They're video blogs, I guess, and they're really, really funny. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to them. They're really good guys, and they realize that in this game in particular, they really didn't have a shot, and they're pretty funny. So give them a look out.
Yeah, so this week we have Ole Miss, and they're led by quarterback Jevin Sneed. Of course, he was originally a Florida commit until Tim Tebow committed, then I guess he bailed. And then he was at Texas, and Colt McCoy was taking over, and he transferred to Ole Miss. So this is his first year starting, and he looked really good up until last game when he had a few interceptions, 4 to be exact. And they also have accumulated a pretty good amount of talent because Ed Orgeron was a pretty good recruiter. He got some good defensive linemen in there and some good players, but they won't have the depth of a Florida or a Georgia or used to be a Tennessee. And they have their first year coach Houston Nutt came over from Arkansas. My Arkansas friends will tell you that's may not be an upgrade because they hate Houston Nutt, but he's done some interesting things. Still doing the old Wild Hog formation, but he calls it the Wild Rebel or something now, and uses Dexter McCluster for that. I guess he just has an affinity for guys that sound like they should be Irish but are actually African American. Um, but with this game being at home, I really think that we could open up the offense a lot more now that we're into SEC play, and maybe we come out throwing a lot more. So I'll look for that. But I still see that maybe we don't really have a problem and we just keep rolling. We haven't been turning the ball over at all. So I really maybe we still stick with the vanilla thing unless Jevin Sneed goes nuts and throws some touchdowns and they get an early lead or something. But I expect us to roll pretty easily in this game.
Well, yeah, they got off to a hot start last week. It was 17-7 at one point. Their defense played pretty well. They only gave up 202 total yards against Vandy, who's now 4-0 and ranked, surprisingly. But I don't know what to think. I mean, our offense is pretty stellar, and I think that we're probably going to be able to go all over the field with them. Now, Jevin Sneed, he did have a bad game last week, but he's only playing some of his first major games in this system. So, he's going to be able to run, but speed always is able to catch up with speed. I mean, it's not like they're playing against a Big Ten team where they're considerably faster than them. I mean, Florida's known as one of the fastest teams in the country, so I expect us to be fine. And I expect us to win, let's say, 35-13. What's your prediction?
I think we're favored by 23, and I mean that's pretty high to take a line anyway. That's a screwed up thing about college football, but really it sounds right. I could take us. Maybe they scored 10, so 38 to 10. Urban Meyer kicks a late field goal for Randy Shannon. Like I said, I think we roll pretty easily. I gave them 10 because I think maybe they connect on a lucky pass or McCluster breaks one out of the formation. You saw how it worked against even the Patriots when the Dolphins ran it last Sunday.
Go
So
Dolphins.
I figure give them a touchdown on some play like that, and maybe they work into our territory, but we hold them to a field goal. So I think they could score around 10 points, but it might even be the best offense we've seen so far because Tennessee and Miami looked pretty pathetic when we played them.
So that wraps it up this week. Go Gators against Ole Miss. And for James, this is Chris. We're out.